The words weren't screamed. They weren't a joke. They were just a cold, flat statement delivered over a choppy video feed. "We don't want your face at her graduation." My mother, Eleanor, said it while staring blankly into her laptop camera. No hesitation, not even a blink. I just sat there in my quiet apartment in Denver, watching the three faces on my screen. My father, Robert, was studying his hands, refusing to look at me. My younger sister, Chloe, just had this little smirk, twisting a piece of her expensive sweater. For the last decade, I'd been the perfect daughter. I was the one who paid for everything. I was the one they called to solve every crisis. I honestly believed that if I just gave enough, if I was useful enough, they would finally love me back. But in that crushing silence, seeing my sister's satisfied smile as my mother barred me from the very celebration I was footing the bill for, something inside of me finally snapped. I didn't get angry. I didn't break down. I just knew, with absolute certainty, that I was done. Before we get into all of it, please do me a favor and hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from. To really get why that sentence over a Zoom call felt like a physical blow, you need to understand the basic economy of my family. In a typical family, love is just a given. It's part of the deal for being born. You don't have to earn it or put it on a payment plan. But in the Pierce household, love was a currency. It was a complicated formula I spent my entire life trying to solve, and the answer was always the same. Claire gives, Claire provides, and everyone else takes. I'm 32 now, but when I look back, it feels like my childhood ended around age 12. That's when it became painfully obvious that my mother, Eleanor, looked at me completely differently than she looked at my sister, Chloe. Chloe was the baby, the princess. She was 3 years my junior, but she managed to suck up all the emotional oxygen in any room she entered. If Chloe whimpered, the entire house came to a standstill. If Chloe wanted some new gadget, a plan was made to acquire it. If Chloe flunked a class, it was because her teacher was incompetent. If I flunked a class, it was because I was lazy. If I wanted a new gadget, I was being greedy. My father, Robert, was a ghost in his own home. He was present physically, but that was about it. He'd come home from his long day at the office, sink into his armchair, and just check out. He saw it all happening. I know he did. He saw my mother berate me for making too much noise, while she'd praise Chloe for just sitting there. But he never, ever intervened. His motto was, "Let's just keep the peace, Claire." And keeping the peace always meant letting Mom have her way. It meant I had to bury my own needs so she wouldn't get upset. By the time I left for college, I had mastered my role. I was the fixer, the reliable one. I juggled 3 jobs to get through my engineering degree. I worked shifts at the campus library, tutored calculus, and waited tables on weekends. I bought my own textbooks. I covered my own rent. I never once asked my parents for a penny because I already knew what they'd say. "We're saving for retirement," Mom would always declare. But funnily enough, when Chloe finished high school, that retirement fund magically transformed into a brand new convertible for her. "She needs a reliable car for her commute," Mom told me, her tone daring me to challenge her. "You live on campus, Claire. You can just walk." I didn't push back. I just picked up more shifts. After I graduated and landed a great software engineering job in Denver, the family dynamic changed. For the first time, I had real money. And suddenly, my mother was very interested in my life. It began with small things. "Oh, Claire, things are just a bit tight this month," she'd whisper into the phone as if Dad might overhear. "Could you maybe spot us $300 for groceries? Just until your father's next paycheck." I sent it, of course, instantly. A warm little feeling spread through my chest. I was finally being useful. I was helping. I was a good daughter. "Thank you, honey," she'd say. "You're an absolute lifesaver." That phrase, "you're a lifesaver," became my addiction. I craved it. I needed to feel like I mattered to them. As the years went by, the requests grew. The $300 for groceries turned into $800 for a car repair. That became $1,500 for some vague medical expense I was never shown a bill for. And then came Chloe. Chloe had always just drifted. She'd enroll in college, drop out, re-enroll, and switch her major half a dozen times. She refused to get a job, claiming she had anxiety about the corporate world. My mother called me one night, her voice filled with panic. "Claire, your sister's about to be evicted. She's behind on her rent. You have to do something." "Why can't she get a roommate?" I asked, trying to be practical. "Or even a part-time job?" "She needs to focus on her studies," Mom snapped back. "Do you want her to be homeless?" "She's your sister. Family takes care of family. Family takes care of family." That was the line they always used, the perfect weapon. If I refused, I was cruel. I was selfish. I was abandoning my own blood. But if I said yes, I was a lifesaver. So I paid Chloe's rent. I convinced myself it was a one-time thing. But then the next month rolled around, and Mom called with another story, and the month after that. Soon enough, I was paying Chloe's rent every single month. I was paying for her incredibly expensive textbooks. I was sending her money for food. I even gave her a credit card on my account. "This is just for true emergencies," I told Chloe as I handed it to her. "Like a flat tire or a doctor's visit. Real emergencies." "Of course," Chloe said, giving me a quick hug. She smelled of some new expensive perfume, one I certainly hadn't bought, but I figured Mom probably had. "Thanks, Claire. You're the absolute best." For 5 years, this was my normal. I was 32, single, living in a small but nice condo in Denver. I drove a 7-year-old Toyota. I never went on vacation. I cooked all my meals at home. All the while, my salary was bankrolling a completely different life for my sister. I saw it all on her social media. Chloe at fancy brunches, Chloe at music festivals, Chloe showing off new outfits. Whenever I'd bring it up, Mom had a ready-made excuse. "Oh, her friend treated her," or "She's just a savvy thrifter, Claire." Stop being so critical. I desperately wanted to believe her. I had to believe her, because admitting they were just using me meant I'd have to admit that it wasn't about love. It was just about my bank account. My father was useless. One time, during a Christmas visit, I cornered him in the garage. "Dad," I started, as he meticulously organized his tool chest, "I'm spending nearly $2,500 a month on Chloe. It's killing my ability to save. I want to buy my own place someday." He let out a heavy sigh, wiping grease from his hands with a rag. He just looked so tired. "I know, sweetheart. I know. Can't you talk to Mom? Tell her Chloe has to get a job." He just shook his head slowly. "It's not worth the fight, Claire. You know how your mother gets. She just wants Chloe to have a good start. You're strong. You can handle it. Chloe, she's a bit more fragile. You're strong." That was the other side of the trap. My competence, my refusal to complain, was used as a reason to punish me. And Chloe's fragility, which was just a euphemism for being spoiled and lazy, was rewarded. I went back inside and saw her sprawled on the couch, glued to her phone, waiting for Mom to serve her a cup of tea. She didn't even look up. She didn't ask about my work or my life. She just existed, a planet expecting the universe to revolve around her. And because of me, it did. I kept telling myself it was almost over. Chloe was finally, after 7 years, getting a 4-year degree. Once she graduates, I'd tell my friends she'll get a job and get off my payroll. I just have to make it to June. I clung to that date like a life raft. The graduation was my finish line. I had convinced myself that once she had that diploma, my mother would let up. My father would finally relax. Chloe would become an adult. I was so naive. I didn't see that the graduation wasn't a finish line for them. It was just another expense to charge to the Bank of Clare. I truly thought my sacrifices were an investment in our relationship. I thought I was buying a seat at the family table. I just didn't realize that in their eyes, I wasn't at the table. I was the server, expected to bring the food and then vanish back into the kitchen while the real family enjoyed the meal. The math was never going to add up. No matter how much I took from my own life to give to theirs, the sum was always zero. The beginning of the end didn't start with a fight. It started with a notification. It was a Tuesday afternoon in late April. A relentless gray rain was falling over Denver, matching the bleakness of my week. I was at my desk at work, trying to focus on a block of code that had started to swim in front of my eyes. My phone lay face up next to my monitor. Ping. I glanced over. A notification from my banking app. Transaction alert. $3,800 authorized at grandeur celebrations. I stopped breathing. I blinked, certain I'd read it wrong. Maybe it was $38. A very fancy lunch? I grabbed the phone, my thumb fumbling to unlock it. Nope. The decimal point was exactly where I thought it was. $3,800. My heart started to pound against my ribs. My immediate thought was fraud. My card number had been stolen. My account was compromised. A hot, sour panic began to rise in my throat. That was a huge chunk of money. That was the down payment I was trying to save for a condo. I tapped on the notification to see the full details. Card ending in 7712. My stomach plummeted. That wasn't my personal debit card. That was the emergency card, the credit card I had given to Chloe 4 years ago, the one for flat tires and hospital visits. I stared at the merchant name, Grandeur Celebrations. This wasn't a flat tire. This was a gala. My hands were trembling. I shot up from my chair, phone in hand, and hurried out of my open concept office into the quiet of the hallway. I needed air. I needed to think. I called Chloe first, straight to voicemail, naturally. Then I dialed my mother. She picked up on the second ring, her voice sickeningly cheerful. "Hello, Claire. I was just thinking of you." "Mom," I said, my voice shaky. I tried to steady it. "Mom, did Chloe lose her credit card?" "What? No, I don't believe so. She's right here with me. Why do you ask?" "Because," I said, my grip tightening on the phone, "I just got an alert for a charge of over $3,000 at a catering company on the emergency card." A beat of silence stretched on the other end, just a fraction of a second too long. Then my mother laughed. It wasn't a nervous chuckle. It was a light, dismissive sound, as if I'd just said something silly. "Oh, that," she chirped. "Yes, don't worry about it. That's for the graduation party." I felt the blood rush from my head. "The what?" "The party, Claire. For Chloe. We booked the venue and the caterer today. It's going to be absolutely lovely. They have those little mini quiches she adores." I pressed my back against the cool hallway wall, fighting to catch my breath. "Mom, that card is for emergencies. $3,800 is not an emergency. You didn't even ask me." "Well, we tried to be frugal," she said, her tone already shifting to annoyance as if I were bothering her with trivial details. "But you know how things are these days. And we can't just serve hot dogs in the yard. This is a major accomplishment. Your sister worked very hard for this." "I work hard too," I snapped, the words escaping before I could stop them. The anger was sudden and white-hot. I work hard for that money. You can't just spend almost $4,000 of my money without so much as a text message. Claire, she sighed, the same condescending sigh she used when I was a child having a tantrum. Don't be so dramatic. You have a good job. You can afford it. Why must you always make everything about money? It's so unbecoming. It's my money. It's for the family, she corrected me, her voice sharp. We are celebrating your sister. You should be happy for her. Instead, you're calling and raising your voice over a bill? It's tacky, Claire. Tacky, I whispered, stunned. Mom, that's literally theft. If a stranger did that, you'd call the police. We are not strangers, she retorted, her voice rising. We are your parents. She is your sister. My God, I did not raise you to be so stingy. Fine. If it's such a big deal, I'll tell Chloe to cancel the quiches. I'll tell her that her big sister doesn't think she deserves a proper party. The guilt trip, right on cue. I didn't say she doesn't deserve a party, I said, my resolve already starting to crumble. It was an automatic response. I hated making her upset. I just said you should have asked. Well, we got caught up in the moment, Mom said, her voice softening again, sensing her victory. It's all taken care of now. Let's not spoil the mood by fighting. Oh, and you need to book your flight soon. The ceremony is on the 15th. I was speechless. I felt completely hollowed out. Just handle the bill, Claire. Let your sister have her moment. We'll talk later. Click. She was gone. I stood in that empty hallway, staring at my dark phone screen. I felt physically ill. It wasn't just the money, though, that stung. I could technically absorb the cost. It was the sheer audacity of it. They didn't even consider asking. My finances were just a shared resource pool for them. I walked back to my desk, but my focus was shot. I kept hearing her voice in my head. You're being dramatic. It's tacky. For the very first time, the old excuse, family takes care of family, just didn't land. This wasn't care. Care is given freely. This was an entitlement. I sat there and looked at the whole picture with fresh eyes. I was a resource. I was the gold mine they kept digging into, and they didn't give a damn if the tunnels collapsed, as long as they got their gold. I opened my banking app again and stared at the pending charge. Grandeur celebrations. I had a choice. I could call my credit card company and report the charge as fraudulent. I could dispute it, but I didn't. Was it cowardice? Probably. Was it habit? Absolutely. I could already picture the fallout if I canceled the payment. The screaming phone calls, my dad calling me, begging me to make it right, Chloe having a meltdown. So I did what I always did. I paid the bill. But as I tapped confirm payment, something inside me changed. The little warm glow I usually got when I helped wasn't there. In its place was a cold, hard stone. I finally understood that I wasn't a partner in this family. I wasn't even a daughter. I was a cash machine. And you don't invite the ATM to sit at the dinner table. You just take the money and walk away. That night, I went home and sat in my dark condo. I didn't bother with the lights. I just sat on my couch and thought about the graduation. They wanted my money for the party. They wanted my money for the dress Chloe would inevitably buy. They wanted my money for the fancy dinner afterward. But did they want me? I decided to run a little experiment. I didn't text them for 3 days. Normally, I was the one who initiated contact every day. How are you? How's Dad? I just stopped. Wednesday came and went. Nothing. Thursday passed. Silence. On Friday, there was still not a single text. Nobody asked if I was okay. Nobody asked about my week. And nobody, absolutely nobody, thanked me for paying the $3,800 bill. They had what they needed. My purpose was served. The silence on my phone was more deafening than any argument. It told me everything. They didn't miss me. They didn't even think of me. I was just the invisible hand that paid for their lives. By Saturday, the sadness was beginning to curdle into something else, something hotter and sharper. And then, the accidental text message blew my world apart. A week went by after the catering incident, a week of absolute silence. I went to work, I came home, I ate my solitary dinners. The quiet from my family was heavy, but it was also clarifying. It was proof that unless I was funding something, I was functionally invisible to them. The truth finally showed up on a Saturday morning. It didn't arrive with a dramatic confrontation, but with a simple buzz from my phone. I was on my small balcony, sipping coffee. It was a rare, perfect, sunny day in Denver. I was trying to read, to distract myself from the knot of anxiety that had been lodged in my stomach ever since the conversation about the quiches. My phone buzzed on the little table beside me. I glanced down, a notification from the Pierce family group chat. The chat included me, Mom, Dad, and Chloe. It was usually just Mom posting pictures of her flowers or Dad sending a cringe-worthy boomer meme. I picked up the phone, expecting another demand. "Can you order this? Can you pay for that?" It was a screenshot, sent by Chloe. There was no text with it, just the image. I frowned, tapping it to make it bigger. At first, I was confused. It was a screenshot of a text exchange between Chloe and my mom. Why would Chloe send a picture of her private chat with Mom to the group chat that included Mom and me? And then I saw the contact name at the top of the screenshot, Mommy Dearest, and I read the message bubbles. Chloe, found the perfect dress. It's stunning, but it's like $550. You think Claire will have another meltdown? She was so annoying about the party. Mom, don't worry about it. Just put it on the card. She'll get over it. Claire is basically our personal ATM machine anyway, LOL. Chloe, true. I just don't want to get a lecture. Mom, she won't. She needs us to like her too much. Some people are just born to be supporters. Let her pay. You just focus on looking pretty. I stared at the image. I read it once, then twice. My mind tried to reject what I was seeing. My first thought was, is this a sick joke? But it wasn't a joke. It was a mistake, a colossal one. Chloe must have taken the screenshot to send to a friend, maybe to complain about me or brag about her new dress. And in her haste, she'd tapped the wrong conversation. She had sent the proof of their contempt directly to the victim. A second later, the image vanished. This message was deleted. Then a new message from Chloe popped up. Chloe, oops, wrong chat, ignore that. Chloe, sent that to my friend, sorry, LOL. She didn't apologize for what she'd said. She apologized for the delivery error. She either thought I hadn't seen it, or she thought I was too pathetic to do anything about it. I sat there, completely frozen. The sun was still warm on my skin. The birds were chirping, but my entire world had just turned to ice. ATM machine. She needs us to like her too much. Some people are just born to be supporters. I put my phone down on the table, gently, as if it might shatter. It felt like I'd been sucker punched, but it wasn't just pain. It was profound humiliation. For years, I had told myself a story where they loved me, they were just bad with money, a story where Mom was just stressed and Chloe was just young and finding her way, a story where my generosity was valued, even if they didn't say it. That screenshot was a bomb that vaporized the story. There was no love. There was no confusion. It was all calculated. They had discussed it. They had a playbook. They weaponized my deep-seated insecurity. my desperate need for their approval against me. Mom knew I needed them to like me, and she used that need to bleed me dry. ATM machine. I wasn't their daughter. I was a piece of equipment, a utility like the power or the internet. You don't thank your router for working, you just get angry when the Wi-Fi goes out. I stumbled back into my condo. I felt dizzy. I went to the bathroom and stared at my reflection. I looked the same brown hair, same tired eyes. But I looked at myself and thought, you fool, you absolute fool. I thought of all the overtime shifts, the skipped vacations, the shoes I put back on the shelf because Chloe needed something. They were laughing at me. The entire time they were laughing. My phone buzzed again. Mom. Claire, did you see some weird picture? Chloe's phone is glitching out. Just ignore it. The gaslighting. Immediate and reflexive. I didn't reply. I couldn't. If I tried to speak, a scream would come out, and I wasn't sure it would ever stop. I went to my kitchen and poured a glass of water, my hands shaking so badly that I splashed it all over the counter. I wiped it up, the motion mechanical. I needed a plan. Just yelling at them was pointless. Yelling had never worked. If I yelled, Mom would turn on the waterworks. She'd claim I was twisting her words, that it was all a misunderstanding. She'd manipulate reality until I was the one apologizing. No, I needed to do something else. I needed to shut down the ATM. I spent the rest of the weekend in a daze. I didn't leave my condo. I didn't answer their calls, and they did call. Mom called 3 times. Chloe called once. Dad, of course, didn't call. I let every single one go to voicemail. By Sunday night, the initial shock had hardened into a cold, diamond-hard clarity. I was done. But they didn't know I was done yet. They just thought I was pouting. They thought I'd get over it, just like Mom had predicted. She'll get over it. I looked at my calendar. We had a family Zoom call scheduled for Monday night to finalize graduation plans. I decided I would be there. I would show up. I would listen. And then I would sever the cord. Monday evening arrived. The sky outside my window was a deep, bruised purple. I set up my laptop on my kitchen island, adjusted the lighting, put on a simple, professional-looking blouse, and brushed my hair. I wanted to look composed, not like the hysterical, overly dramatic daughter they always painted me as. I wanted to look like the CEO of my own life, about to announce a major restructuring. At 7 p.m. sharp, I clicked the link. Their faces popped onto the screen. Mom and Dad were together on the familiar beige sofa in the living room I'd paid to have repainted the year before. Chloe was in her bedroom, holding her phone up to her face as she lay on her bed. "Hi, everyone," I said. My voice was even. It surprised me. "Oh, there she is," Mom said, forcing a smile. She was wearing a brightly colored scarf, but the smile was all wrong. Her eyes were scanning my face, searching for cracks, for any sign of anger about the screenshot. "Hey, Claire," Chloe mumbled, not even looking at the camera. She was busy typing something off-screen. "Hi, honey," Dad muttered. "So," Mom began, clapping her hands together with false enthusiasm. "Big week. Graduation is this Saturday. So much to do." She launched into a list. "We have to pick up the balloons. We need to confirm the dinner reservation. We have to get your father's suit from the dry cleaners." I just sat there and listened, watching them. It was morbidly fascinating. They were acting as if nothing had happened, as if Chloe hadn't called me an ATM just 48 hours earlier. They were banking on my learned obedience, my conflict avoidance. They were betting that I was too nice to bring it up. "And Claire," Mom said, leaning closer to her camera, "did you book your flight yet?" "I haven't," I replied. The atmosphere in the virtual room instantly shifted. "What do you mean?" Mom's fake smile evaporated. "It's Monday. The ceremony is on Saturday. The prices will be sky high." "I know," I said. Well, you need to book it tonight, she commanded, and send me your flight details so we know when to get you. Although actually, Chloe, maybe Aunt Carol can pick Claire up. The car is going to be packed with all the decorations. Whatever, Chloe said, still distracted. I don't care. Right, Mom continued. So Claire, book the flight. And also, I forwarded you the link for the hotel. We decided to upgrade to a suite since Aunt Carol is coming and she needs her space. It's a little more than we planned, but I knew you wouldn't mind. I said nothing. I just looked at her. The silence grew heavy. Mom fidgeted on the couch. She hated when I didn't immediately reply with a cheerful, "Okay, Mom, what is it?" she snapped. "Why are you looking at me like that?" "I'm just listening," I said. "You have that look," she said, her voice growing sharp. "That sour look on your face. You've had it all weekend." "I haven't spoken to you all weekend," I pointed out. "Exactly. You've been ignoring us, all because of some silly little glitch on Chloe's phone." There it was, the official narrative. "It wasn't a glitch, Mom," I said quietly. "Oh, here we go," Chloe groaned, rolling her eyes dramatically. "Are we seriously doing this? It was a joke, Claire. God, you're so sensitive." "A joke?" I repeated. "Calling me an ATM machine is a joke?" "It's a figure of speech," Mom jumped in. "We just meant that you're very helpful. You take everything so personally. This is supposed to be a joyful time for your sister. Why do you always have to make everything about you?" The accusation landed, but this time it didn't hurt. It just glanced off me. "I'm not making it about me," I said. "I'm making it about respect." "Respect?" Mom laughed, a short, ugly sound. "You want respect? Then stop acting like a victim all the time. You help because you can. You have the money, we don't. That's how a family is supposed to work. The strong are supposed to help the weak." "Chloe isn't weak," I said, my gaze shifting to my sister. "She's 29. She's perfectly capable." "I have anxiety," Chloe shouted into her phone. "You know I can't handle pressure like you. You're just jealous because Mom and Dad actually care about me." The mask was off. That was the truth right there. Mom didn't correct her. Dad just continued to stare at the floor. Mom took a deep breath, her face hardening as she glared into the camera. The sweet, concerned mother act was gone. "Look," she said, her voice laced with venom. "I am sick of this attitude. You are bringing everyone down. You make everything so tense. You suck all the joy out of the room, Claire. You always have." She paused, then delivered the blow she thought would finally crush me. "Honestly, if you're going to be like this, maybe you shouldn't even come." I blinked. "What?" "We don't want to see your face at her graduation," she said, her voice flat and cold. "Not if you're going to sit there with that sour expression, making your sister feel bad. We want a happy day. If you can't be happy for her, then just stay in Denver." Chloe smirked. "Yeah, good vibes only." I looked at my father. "Dad, do you agree with this?" He flickered his eyes up for a half second, pure panic in them, then looked back down. "Just listen to your mother, Claire. Maybe just give it some time." They were uninviting me. To the party I had paid for. From the graduation I had funded for years. They were casting me out because I wasn't cheerful enough about being used. And in that moment, something inside me clicked into place. It was the sound of a heavy vault door swinging shut and locking for good. The fear vanished. The guilt vanished. The desperate need for their approval evaporated. I sat up a little straighter. I felt an incredible, chilling calm. "Okay," I said. Mom looked shocked. She was expecting tears, begging, a promise to be good so I could still come. "Okay?" she repeated, confused. "Yes." "Okay," I said. "I won't come. I won't be at the graduation. I won't be at the party. I won't be in any of the pictures." "Good," Mom said, crossing her arms. thinking she'd won. I'm glad you're finally seeing reason. But, I added, you need to be clear on what that means. What does it mean? Chloe asked, sounding bored again. I looked straight into my laptop's camera lens, making direct eye contact with each of them. It means I am not part of the celebration, I said. And if I am not part of the celebration, I am not part of the funding. Mom's brow furrowed. What are you talking about? I said, my voice as clear and steady as a bell, that if you don't want to see my face, you will never see my money again. Excuse me? Mom laughed, but it was a nervous, panicked sound. You can't just, I cut her off. I am done, Mom. I saw the text. I know what you really think of me. I'm the ATM machine. Well, this ATM is officially out of service. You can't do this, Chloe shrieked, sitting bolt upright, her face suddenly pale. The final payment for the venue is due tomorrow. That sounds like a you problem, I said. Claire, Mom screamed. You are destroying your sister's life. You are being vindictive. No, I said. I'm resigning from my position as the family bank. You fired me, remember? You told me not to come. I didn't mean it like that. Mom backpedaled, her eyes wide with terror. I just meant, you meant it, I said. And I heard you. I reached for my mouse. Claire, wait, Dad yelled, his voice cracking. It was the first time he'd raised it in years. Don't do anything rash. Goodbye, Dad, I said. Goodbye, Mom. Have a wonderful graduation, Chloe. Claire, I clicked the red button. End meeting. The screen went black. I sat in the silence of my kitchen. My heart was racing, but my hands were perfectly steady. It was over. But I knew the war was just beginning, and I had a lot of work to do before morning. I didn't move right away after the screen went black. I just sat there for a long minute, listening to the low hum of my refrigerator. My phone immediately started vibrating on the kitchen island. Buzz, buzz, buzz. It danced across the granite, a frantic spasm of light and sound. I knew who it was. It was Mom, realizing she'd overplayed her hand. It was Chloe, realizing the ATM had just run out of cash. I didn't even look at the caller ID. I picked up the phone, swiped down, and tapped the crescent moon icon. Do not disturb. Then I reopened my laptop. The strangest thing was I didn't feel angry. Usually after a fight with them, I'd be a wreck, hot, shaky, and desperate to fix things. I'd spend hours composing apology texts for things that weren't even my fault. But this time I just felt cold, clinical. I felt like a surgeon about to excise a malignant tumor. This wasn't about revenge. This was about survival. I opened a clean browser window and got to work. Step 1, the credit cards. I logged into my banking portal and went straight to the Authorized Users tab. There it was, Chloe Pierce. I clicked to view her recent transaction history. It was a flood of small luxuries: Sephora, Starbucks, DoorDash, a little boutique downtown. And there at the top was the pending charge for $3,800 from Grandeur Celebrations. My finger hovered over the button. This was the point of no return. This wasn't just a family spat. This was a demolition. I thought about the smug look on Chloe's face. Good vibes only. I clicked lock card, then just to be sure, I clicked report lost, stolen. A pop-up appeared. This card will be deactivated immediately, and a new card will be mailed to your primary address. Confirmed. In that instant, the piece of plastic in Chloe's designer wallet became useless. The next time she tried to buy her morning latte or pay off that $550 dress, the machine would beep its denial. I felt a knot of tension in my shoulders begin to loosen. Step 2. The tuition and rent. This was the big one. I navigated to the university's payment portal. My credit card was saved as the primary payment method, set to auto-pay her final semester fees, fees that had to be settled for her to be cleared for graduation. I clicked Remove Payment Method. The site prompted, "Are you sure?" A new payment method will be required to avoid late fees and holds on the account. "I am very sure," I said to my empty apartment. Click. Gone. Next, the apartment complex. I went to their tenant portal. I had been paying Chloe's rent via direct transfer for 4 years. I canceled the recurring payment. Then I typed a brief professional email to the leasing office, to whom it may concern. Please be advised that as of today, I am no longer the financial guarantor for the lease on Unit 3C, occupied by Chloe Pierce. All future rent payments must be collected directly from the tenant. Send. Step 3, the digital subscriptions. This part was petty, I'll admit it, but it was about the principle of the thing. If they didn't want my face, they didn't get my perks. I went to my Amazon Prime account, my Netflix account, my Spotify account, my Hulu account. On each one, I went into the settings and clicked Sign out of all devices. Then I changed every single password. It took maybe 4 minutes. In 4 minutes, the movie night in their living room would abruptly end. The music on Chloe's phone would fall silent. The free 2-day shipping would disappear. It wasn't about the $20 a month here and there. It was about the fact that their entire lifestyle was an ecosystem I had built, and they had zero respect for the architect. Step 4, the phone plan. We were on a family plan, and of course I paid the bill. Around $280 a month for 4 lines with unlimited data. I logged into the carrier's website. I couldn't just cancel their numbers without a whole ordeal, but there was something else I could do. I could separate the accounts. I clicked on Transfer of Billing Responsibility. I selected Mom, Dad, and Chloe's phone numbers. I entered Mom's email address as the new account owner. I hit Submit. Now, Eleanor would receive an email. Claire has released these lines to you. Please accept billing responsibility to maintain service. They would have 24 hours to provide their own credit card information, or their phones would be shut off. I closed the laptop. I leaned back in my chair and glanced at the clock. It was 7:45 p.m. The entire demolition of a decade's worth of financial entanglement had taken less than an hour. 10 years of being their safety net, of funding their choices, all dismantled in 45 minutes. I walked over to the sliding glass door of my condo and looked out at the glittering lights of Denver. The rain had started again, leaving streaks on the glass. For the first time in as long as I could remember, I wasn't mentally scrambling to fix their chaos. I wasn't worrying about how Mom would react. I wasn't calculating how much overtime I'd have to work to cover their latest emergency. I had created a void. I knew that in their house, right at that moment, the panic was just starting to set in. Chloe's Uber Eats order would be declined. Mom's show would buffer and then stop. The email about the phone bill would land in her inbox with a little ping. I took a long, deep breath. I felt lighter. I felt like I'd been hauling a backpack full of stones up a mountain, and I had finally just let it drop. It wasn't happiness, not yet. It was peace. I didn't sleep much that night. I knew that when the sun rose, the real counterattack would begin. Retaliation is one thing. Dealing with the fallout is another. I knew my family. I knew their playbook. They would lie. They would tell everyone, my aunts, my uncles, our family friends, that I had lost my mind, that I was having a psychotic break, that I was cruel and unstable and had cut them off for absolutely no reason. They would weave a narrative where they were the innocent victims and I was the monster. I needed insurance. I needed proof. So the next morning, running on black coffee and adrenaline, I started to build my case. I created a new folder on my desktop. I called it simply The Ledger. First, I downloaded years of bank statements. I spent 2 hours combing through them with a digital highlighter, marking every Venmo to Mom, every Zelle to Chloe, every direct payment to the university, every emergency auto shop bill. I created a spreadsheet. Column A, date. Column B, amount. Column C, the stated reason. Column D, the reality. March 5th, $800. Reason: Dad's emergency dental work. Reality: weekend spa trip for Mom and Chloe, posted on Instagram. July 22nd, $1,500. Reason: textbooks. Reality: tickets to a music festival tagged on Facebook. Seeing it all there in stark black and white made me nauseous. The total at the bottom of the spreadsheet was a 6-figure number. It was a down payment on a home. It was years of my life. I saved the spreadsheet as a PDF. Next, I went through my text messages. I screenshotted the ATM machine conversation again, making sure the timestamp was clear. I screenshotted dozens of texts from my mother, dripping with guilt. If you don't send the money, your sister will be humiliated. Is that what you want? We raised you to be better than this. I saved them all. But the most powerful piece of evidence wasn't a document, it was a recording. I found it in my recently deleted voicemails. I'd almost erased it for good, but some gut instinct had told me to keep it. It was from a few months ago. Mom had called, I didn't answer, and she'd left a voicemail but forgot to hang up properly. I hit play. "Claire, call me. It's urgent." Her usual mom voice. Then a shuffling sound, the phone being set down. Then her voice again, but different. Distant. The voice she used when she wasn't performing for me. She's not picking up. Annoying little thing. Then I heard Chloe's voice. She's probably busy at work. Just keep calling. She always cracks. Mom, I know she's just so desperate for our approval. It's kind of pathetic, really. But hey, at least it pays the bills. Chloe laughed. God, can you imagine if I actually had to have a real job? I think I'd just die. Mom, it's basically her purpose in life to provide for us. She'll pay. She always does. She's too scared of losing us. The recording ended with a final definitive click. I sat there, listening to the silence. When I first heard that voicemail, I had cried for an hour, trying to convince myself they didn't mean it, that they were just blowing off steam. Listening to it now, I didn't cry. I felt a grim, cold satisfaction. This was the smoking gun. This was the proof that I wasn't crazy. They had said it themselves. It's basically her purpose. I dragged the audio file into the ledger folder. I looked at my collection. Spreadsheets, bank records, text messages, audio. It was a dossier of exploitation, financial and emotional. My phone, still on Do Not Disturb, lit up. A string of notifications appeared on the lock screen. Missed call, 14, Mom. Missed call, 8, Chloe. Missed call, 3, Dad. Then, a text from my Aunt Carol. Aunt Carol, Claire, honey. Your mother just called me, hysterical. She said you hacked their accounts and stole Chloe's tuition money? What on earth is happening? This doesn't sound like you at all. I stared at the text. Stole money. The lies were already being deployed. They were painting me as a thief to get ahead of the truth. I took a deep breath. I wasn't going to get into a texting war. I had my folder. I had my truth. I was ready. I closed my laptop, walked into my kitchen, and made myself a sandwich. I ate it slowly, savoring each bite. For the first time in years, I wasn't rushing. I wasn't panicking. I was just waiting. Because I knew the next move was theirs, and when they made it, I would be ready to burn their lies to the ground. 3 days of radio silence is an eternity in my family. Normally, if I didn't text back within a couple of hours, my mother would be sending the family equivalent of a search party. But this silence was different. It was the frantic, panicked silence of people trying to plug a dozen holes in a sinking ship. On Wednesday night, the summons came, not as a demand, but as a plea. An email from my father. Subject: please talk to us. The body of the email read, Claire, please, we need to sort this out. Your mother is sick with worry. Chloe is a wreck. Just give us 10 minutes on Zoom, 8 p.m. tonight. I stared at the email, and I felt that old, familiar pull in my gut. The guilt, the lifetime of training to be the peacekeeper. But then I glanced at the folder on my desktop. The ledger. I wasn't the peacekeeper anymore. I was the prosecutor. Okay, I whispered to myself. At 8 p.m., I logged on. The screen filled with their faces, and the contrast from Monday was jarring. On Monday, they had been smug and dismissive. Now, they looked utterly broken. My mother's eyes were red and swollen. She wore no makeup and looked a decade older. Chloe sat beside her, wrapped in a blanket, her face a mixture of fury and terror. My father perched on the edge of the sofa, wringing his hands. Claire, Mom began, her voice cracking. Thank God! What are you doing to us? What is happening? Hello, I said calmly. You cut everything off, she cried, her voice rising and trembling. The phones, the Netflix, the tuition. The university called Chloe today. Her graduation tickets are on hold because of an outstanding balance. You canceled the payment. I did, I confirmed. How could you? Chloe screamed, lunging toward the camera. It's my graduation. You're ruining my life because you're jealous of me. I'm not jealous, Chloe, I said. And I'm not ruining your life. I'm simply letting you pay for it. We can't pay for it, Mom shouted. You know we don't have that kind of money just lying around. The ceremony is in 3 days. You have to fix this. Put the card back on the account, right now. No, I said. Claire, please, Dad interjected, his voice pleading. Just for this week. We can talk about everything else later. But don't punish your sister like this. Punish? I asked. Is that what you call this? You're stealing from us, Mom accused, her grief quickly curdling back into rage. You committed fraud. You reported that card as stolen when it wasn't. It was in my name, I stated. It was my account, and you used it to buy party supplies and designer dresses while you mocked me behind my back. We never mocked you, Mom lied, staring straight into the camera, tears now streaming down her face. We love you. We brag about you to everyone. Someone has been filling your head with lies. I just looked at her. It was a masterful performance. She was so good at it, she probably even believed it herself. I don't need anyone to tell me lies, Mom, I said. I have the recording. I clicked share screen. The Zoom window shifted. They were now looking at my desktop. I opened the ledger folder. What is this? Chloe asked, squinting. This is the math, I said. I opened the spreadsheet first. It filled their screen. Rows and rows of dates and numbers. This is every dollar I have sent you for the last 5 years, I explained. Rent, tuition, emergencies that were actually vacations, medical bills that were actually shopping sprees. The grand total is just over $120,000. The silence on their end was absolute. They just stared at the number. You kept track? Mom whispered. She sounded horrified. That's sick. Who keeps a spreadsheet on their own family? A cash cow who wants to know her market value, I replied. Mom flinched. I saw the text, Mom, I continued. The one Chloe sent by mistake. Some people are just born to be supporters. She needs us to like her too much. It was a joke, Chloe yelled again. God, you have no sense of humor. Is this a joke too? I asked. I clicked on the audio file. The recording played through my speakers, loud and clear into their living room. She's not picking up. Annoying little thing. It's basically her purpose in life to provide for us. She'll pay. She always does. She's too scared of losing us. I watched their faces as my mother's and sister's voices filled the room. Mom went ghost white. Her mouth hung open, but no sound came out. She couldn't deny it. She couldn't gaslight her way out of her own recorded voice. Chloe stared down at her lap, her face crimson. Dad just put his head in his hands. When the recording ended, the silence was deafening. It wasn't the silence of anger anymore. It was the silence of pure, unadulterated shame. "You said I was afraid of losing you," I said, my voice steady. "And you were right. I was terrified of losing you. I thought if I stopped paying, you would stop loving me. But then I realized something." I paused, letting it hang in the air. "You don't love me," I said. "You love what I provide for you. And I'm not willing to be loved for my bank balance anymore." "Claire," Mom whispered. "Baby, please. We were just venting. We were stressed." "No," I said. "You were honest. For once, you were completely honest. And now, I'm being honest too." I stopped sharing my screen and looked at them one last time. "I am not fixing the tuition," I said. "I am not unlocking the credit cards. I am not coming to the graduation. If you want Chloe to walk across that stage, you have 3 days to figure it out. Sell the car. Take out a loan. I don't care. But the Bank of Claire is permanently closed." "You'll tear this family apart," Mom hissed, her eyes narrowing with hate. "No," I said. "I'm just ending the arrangement you created." I didn't wait for the screaming. I didn't wait for more tears. I clicked leave meeting, and this time I knew there would be no more invitations. The fallout was messy, ugly, and absolutely necessary. The next 3 days were a whirlwind of noise from their side and complete silence from mine. I heard secondhand what happened through the family grapevine and my Facebook feed. They couldn't find the money. Mom tried to apply for a new credit card, but her credit score was non-existent because she'd never paid a bill in her life. She'd always just forwarded them to me. Dad tried to get a personal loan, but the bank couldn't process it in 3 days. Chloe did not walk at graduation. The university was firm. No payment, no diploma, no ceremony. I saw a post from Aunt Carol on Facebook. "So sad we couldn't see our beautiful Chloe walk the stage today due to a last-minute administrative error at the university. We are still so proud of our graduate." Administrative error. That was the story Mom was spinning. She couldn't admit they were broke. She couldn't admit I had cut them off. So, she blamed an anonymous office. But the lies didn't end there. That Sunday, my Aunt Susan called me. "Claire," she said, her voice dripping with ice, "I heard what you did. Your mother told me everything. How you hacked their accounts and stole Chloe's tuition money to buy yourself a new car. I never knew you had such a cruel streak." I felt a hot flash of anger. They were actively trying to ruin my reputation to save their own. "Aunt Susan," I said, "did Mom tell you that?" "Yes, she did. She's heartbroken." "Okay," I said. "Check your email." "What?" "I just sent you a folder," I said. "It has the bank statements showing who paid the tuition for the last 4 years. It has the text messages. And it has a recording of what my mother and sister really think of me. Listen to it. Then, if you still want to, you can call me back." I hung up. 10 minutes later, I got a text. "Aunt Susan. Oh my God. Claire, I am so sorry." The truth, it turns out, spreads much faster than lies when you have receipts. Within a week, the entire extended family knew the real story. I didn't have to launch a smear campaign. I just sent the ledger to anyone who asked. The shame shifted. It moved off my shoulders and landed squarely on theirs. My parents went dark on social media. Chloe deleted her Instagram account. 2 weeks later, there was a knock on my condo door. I looked through the peephole. It was my father alone. He looked smaller, diminished. He was wearing an old windbreaker, just standing in the hallway of my building. I opened the door, but I blocked the entrance with my body. "Hi, Dad," I said. "Hi, honey," he mumbled, refusing to meet my eyes. Can I come in?" "No," I said. He flinched and finally looked up at me, his eyes filled with hurt. "I drove all the way from home." "I know," I said, "but if you come in, you're going to try to make peace. You'll tell me Mom is sorry and I should be the bigger person. And I'm just not interested in hearing that." He slumped against the doorframe, the fight going out of him. "She's a mess, Claire," he said quietly. "She doesn't know what to do. We just didn't realize how much we depended on you." "You didn't realize?" I asked. "Dad, I told you. I told you 2 years ago in the garage that I was drowning. You told me to be strong." He looked down at his worn-out shoes. "I was a coward," he admitted. "I just wanted to keep the peace. Your mother, she can be difficult. It was just easier to let you handle it." "It was easier for you," I corrected him. "It wasn't easier for me. You sacrificed me to keep her calm. That's not what a father is supposed to do." He started to cry then, not loud sobs, but the quiet, painful tears of an old man who knows he's failed. A part of me, the old Claire, wanted to hug him, to say, "It's okay, I'll fix it. Here's a check." But I held my ground. I kept my hands by my sides. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I truly am." "I believe you," I said. "But an apology doesn't pay back $120,000, and it doesn't give me back the decade I wasted trying to buy your affection." "What happens now?" he asked. "Are we done?" "I don't know," I said honestly. "I need time. A lot of time. I need to figure out who I am when I'm not playing the role of the family provider. And you all need to figure out how to be adults without my money propping you up." He nodded slowly. He understood. "Goodbye, Dad," I said. "Goodbye, Claire," he replied. He turned and walked away down the long hallway, looking frail and lost. It broke my heart a little, but it was a clean break, a necessary one. I closed my door and slid the deadbolt home. It's been 6 months since the graduation that wasn't. My life is completely different now. The first thing I noticed was the silence. My phone no longer buzzes with manufactured emergencies. I don't get manipulative texts on Sunday nights. The second thing I noticed was my bank account. It's actually shocking. When you stop financially supporting 3 other adults, money has a way of sticking around. I checked my savings account yesterday. For the first time in my adult life, I have enough for a down payment on a condo. My condo. Not a house for the family, a home for me. I haven't spoken to Eleanor or Chloe. I hear snippets from Aunt Carol. Mom found a job as a receptionist. Chloe is working as a barista. They're surviving. That was always my deepest fear, that without me they would collapse, that they'd be on the street. But they weren't. They struggled, sure. They had to sell the second car. They had to learn how to budget. They had to actually work. But they are alive. I realized that by saving them all those years, I wasn't helping them. I was crippling them. I was enabling their dependency. Now, for the first time, they're learning how to stand on their own 2 feet. I was on my balcony this morning. It's summer in Denver, and the sky was a brilliant, cloudless blue. I was drinking a cup of coffee. Good coffee. From expensive beans I bought for myself without an ounce of guilt. I thought about that girl on the Zoom call 6 months ago. The girl who was so terrified of being unloved, so desperate for an invitation. The girl who thought her entire value was tied to her wallet. She feels like a stranger to me now. I stood up and walked to the railing, the sun warm on my face. I used to think love was about how much you were willing to sacrifice. I thought loving someone meant letting them hurt you over and over and just accepting it. I was so wrong. Love without respect isn't love, it's exploitation. And family isn't about shared blood, it's about how people treat you, especially when you have nothing left to give. I took a deep breath, filling my lungs with the crisp, clean air. I don't know if I will ever speak to them again. Maybe someday, but it will never be the same. That old dynamic is shattered, and I am so grateful. I am not the fixer. I am not the bank. I am not the ATM machine. I am Claire. And for the first time in my life, that is more than enough. I closed my eyes and just exhaled. If you have ever been the family's designated peacekeeper, only to become their scapegoat, if you have ever felt like you had to buy your seat at the table, just stop, close the wallet, lock the door, and walk away. You are worth more than what you can give them. You are not alone.